I mean, I've witnessed addictions so much in the course of my life. Family members, friends. I was in stand-up comedy for years, which means I spent like 15 years of my life surrounded by the majority of the people in my life were either people who should be in some kind of rehab program, all the way to people who had been sober for 20 years. There was a variation, but I've been around people with addiction problems more than I probably ever should for somebody who's never been an addict. But I've learned a lot from observing that. And one thing that I know about addicts is you do get to a point where you're like, okay, at a certain point they're making a choice. You know, yes, I know it's an illness, but at a certain point they're making a choice to continue their addiction and they're going back to something even when they know that they shouldn't be. It sounds insensitive, but you do get to a point after a while where you're like, you know what, if they're gonna destroy themselves and they're going to destroy their life because of it, they're making the choice. And sometimes you feel like you have to let them go. Unfortunately, addicts rarely ever destroy their life and don't take other people with them. And I've heard it, there's a lot of people that will scream codependency, that will scream just, oh, just let them, you know, do what they need to do, or just, you know, cut them out of your life, or just something. Sometimes it's not that simple. I mean, in some cases, yes, you can go no contact with an addict. In some cases, you can just walk away, and I would highly recommend that you do if you have that option, because addiction is going to destroy not only the addict, but everybody around them. Unfortunately, in some instances, it's just not possible to completely cut addicts out of your life completely. And as someone who is literally like in the midst of dealing with that right now, when I hear things like Britney being in a conservatorship or something like that, and I think of like, if that had been an option in my family at some point, I think of like how many like fires could have been put out because of, you know, the destruction that addiction does. And knowing that there are people out there who don't have access to stuff like that. I mean, I know that's not a popular thing and it's not a common thing, and I definitely wrestle with it a lot as somebody who is very big on personal freedom. But unfortunately, we don't all live in a bubble. People's destructive behavior affects other people. And when you have someone who is operating as an addict, when you have someone who has a severe mental health problem, it's not only going to affect themselves, you know, it's going to affect the people around them, the people close to them. And, you know, I have a lot of empathy for Britney's family, and I'm not saying that they did everything right, and I'm not saying they did everything perfectly, but I do have empathy for them having to watch a loved one ruin their life the way that Britney has.